I can see where he said he was having a problem there, and when you get on it, it just bogs down, falls on his face. So we're gonna take it back to the shop and see what's going on with it. Alright guys, stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So blog going on here. We got the bike running. The problem at the beginning was it had a bog, which is why the bike was taken to somebody and the fuel pump was replaced. Sometimes the filters and stuff can get clogged up and it can cause a bog, but sometimes that might be just part of the problem. There could be multiple problems. And what's common in these Gixxers is, and I've had several of them do that to me, these rectifiers tend to go out. And I've actually tested it out with my bolt meter here, and it's not doing very good. And one very clear indication that these rectifiers go out, sometimes along with the stator here, is that you'll see burnt wires everywhere. And as you can see here, we got a wire that's just like even melting into the plastic here. So we're gonna go ahead and just replace this and possibly the stator. And another indicator is on the back of the rectifiers here. If you see these bumps, those are wires that have pretty much just tried to melt themselves out of there because they've gotten so hot. And that's not good, man. That means this rectifier is blown. So we're definitely going to change that. So we're going to get started working on the Repsol today. Badass bike. As you saw earlier, it had a starting issue, and we're going to get to the bottom as to why it's cutting off as soon as you started. I'm going to take it apart. Most of it's taken apart already. Like the seat here doesn't have any bolts. It should have some bolts back here, so I'm just going to take that off. We're going to test battery voltage. We're going to test well, little things like the guy said he's already replaced the fuel pump. We're going to test fuel pressure, make sure it's got good fuel pressure, and we actually have a couple of things we're going to replace in it. We've got here a stator for it and a rectifier, which is common to go out on these. Well, it's not as common as the Gixxers, but as you saw, the side of it was burnt up, and perfect example of what it should look like. You see how there are no bumps and humps everywhere? This is what a good rectifier should look like, which is a clear indicator on these, and I've had several of them go out. There you go again, just for reference. If you can see the bumps there, that is not good compared to, I mean, I don't even have to test that out. I already did with the multimeter, but it's, once you see that, it's done for, guys. Just go ahead and put one in there. Very inexpensive parts, easy to change, and very easy to replace. All you gotta take this fairing and get these two bolts off, and they'll come right off. But yeah, we are going to get started. So, as I was saying before the battery died, we're going to get started on the CBR1000 today. We're going to take the spark plugs out and just check them out, make sure they're not worn out, gap them. It's regular stuff, regular maintenance. And he does have a rectifier and stator that we are going to install on this bike. I don't think that's the problem, but sometimes, yes, it could do that if he has a bad rectifier and stator. So he has a fuel pump that has been installed into the bike. So we are going to test fuel pressure and go from there, I guess. So stay tuned. I'm going to take this tank off, and all it is just a couple of bolts here, just got a cover here, and then there's a hidden bolt that's in there, same on the other side. So we're going to take this cover off, gas tank's going to be on there, and then we're going to take that off, and we're going to take the coils and spark plugs off just to inspect them. But stay tuned, guys. I'm going to go ahead and just do that while you guys go get a beer or something. All right. So we got the gas tank pulled back. I mean, once you take those bolts off, the cover will slide right off, and this is actually the gas tank itself. It's got two bolts that go in here. I believe it's like an H6. And this is what I do to keep that tank down. It's just put a little string and wrap it up to that. So anyways, we're gonna start checking the bike out, and this is just a clear indicator that somebody has been in here. If you can see that, this is the injector for it, and the plug for it is broken. So we're going to just take it apart and check the wire and make sure everything's connected. And we're going to get these air bongs off so we can get to the spark plugs. All right guys, here I go. All you gotta do is take these off, and a couple of bolts here, get the clamps loose, and you're in there. All right guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the fairing off because we are going to be replacing the stator and the rectifier, which is right here. So pretty basic stuff. It's got a couple of bolts up here. It's got one right here, I think. It's got one right here. Sorry, missing a few. It's got one back here in the back. A couple of clamps here. You do have to take these inside fairing off. And it's got a few down here, right here as well. And we've got some kind of, looks like some kind of LED connection or something. I'm gonna go ahead and toss that in the garbage because that's where it belongs. It's yeah, we don't need that. So anyways, we're gonna take this fairing off, and like I said, otherwise those bolts off, they should come right off. I've already got them off. They're right here, as well as side pieces for the gas tank. Like I said, it should come right off. And we have a connector here for your blinker. So I missed one bolt down there, but as you can see, we have a rectifier here. This one looks to be aftermarket. You know, they tend to go out. They're not that good, but there we go. This is exactly what I wanted to see. We have a problem here at the connector. As you can see, it's burnt. We're going to go ahead and replace this. This is probably what the problem is, why the bike is not staying on. All right guys, back at it again. I was fixing to put these rectifier back on, but we did run into a problem. The rectifier itself has a different plug than our factory one did. So what I'm going to do is I am going to actually cut that and get some connectors so that I can go ahead and replace that. I actually had to break this apart, so for the owner, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do my best to fix that, but I think we can get something going here. I'm just gonna have to go get some parts and go ahead and install it. All right guys, stay tuned. All right guys, welcome back. I've got the rectifier installed and put on now. We kind of have it, kind of have to fix that for now, but we have the stator here. Like I said, all of this is the bolts here, and it comes right off. So make sure your areas are clean here. If you get these 4 bolts off, it should come right up, and this 10mm bolt right here. Get your wiring going through, and she's ready to install, guys. So to install it, you just put it in there. You just gotta be careful, don't smash your fingers. That magnet is going to pull that thing forward, so do not smash your fingers on that. Ask me how I know. So anyways, we're gonna get this installed, and I'm gonna try to crank it and see what it does. All right guys, getting kind of late, but we got the stator installed and the rectifier installed. The wiring is fixed for now, so we are going to go ahead and just try to crank the bike up, see what it does. I'm going to go ahead and lay the gas tank down so it has enough fuel. It was a little low. I'm just get my little rope here, and all right, there we go. Make sure nothing's pinched down there. So test start number 1. Let's see how she does. Still nothing. Okay. So we got the stator and rectifier installed, we got the wiring fixed, and still nothing. It does have an ECU that has been swapped out, so I'm gonna try to swap that out. Maybe that's got something to do with it. But it sounds, when it cranks up, it sounds really rough. It just wants to misfire. It's got hoses that aren't connected here and there, so I can see that somebody's been down here. Yeah, we're gonna have to get really into this one to figure out what's going on, but we're gonna get there eventually. For now, we're just going to I guess just kind of research on it a little bit and get the ECU swapped out. Hopefully that does something. I'm not sure, but yeah, stay tuned, guys. Gixxer here is getting the rectifier and stator swapped, so stay tuned for that and the next test drive, see how she does. The CBR yeah, so we found a few things on it. I had to get this fairing off because we had a rectifier that was bad as well, and as you can see here, the wire going to this right here was melted shut on this, so we definitely had to replace that. We got the rectifier on there, we got the new stator in, and as you can see, I am diagnosing something else now because it didn't work. We're still having the problem where we can crank it up and boom, it just dies. So right now I'm checking everything I can. These bikes tend to be skipped on maintenance because it is so hard to do. Literally I had to take the entire bike apart just to get to the spark plugs, but they are really worn out. They're fouled out really bad, and I'm hoping this will make a difference. I don't think that's the problem, but this is going to make a big difference on this bike. Really cheap spark plugs here, but as you can see, I mean, it's just, this thing's probably from the factory, so we're going to go ahead and get with the customer and see if he wants to replace those and go ahead and throw them in there. I don't think that's going to be the problem to the bike, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. They did have an ECU that was swapped. I replaced it back with the original one, and it's still doing the same thing, so we are going to have to figure out why it is doing that. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned and see if we can fix this bike. This is definitely a tough one. As you can see, it is giving me a pretty good fight. CBRs are a little bit harder to work on than the Gixxers. I honestly prefer the Gixxers because of that, and they're a little bit stronger at the track. As you can see, I mean, the work that has been put into just to get to change out the spark plugs, I mean, that's crazy. But to me, it just is like just nothing major, just another day in the shop for me, guys. Stay tuned. We're gonna go ride this bike again and check it out, see if it does any better. Go on from there. We're just gonna keep diagnosing parts, and like we already diagnosed that the rectifier was bad, so keep an eye on this one. It's gonna be bad. It runs really well until you get up top end, but this one right here is giving me a good fight. Definitely a good fight. Check it out, guys. All right, till next time.